Okay,
Yeah.
Kagerman, head of moderation.
Some
You're kind of a legend. You're kind of a legend in the community.
I, I don't really think so, but if you wanna inflate my ego, I'll take the compliment.
I think you were. So you were the Holy Roman Emperor for how long? Like, you were twice. You were emperor twice, right?
No, I've only been emperor once, and it was for the 5 months following Operation Yup in 2022.
Okay. What was that like? Becoming emperor post Operation Yup. He was a very controversial figure in the community, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was a hard transition.
Well, he supported me for emperor, but in the HRE we had like an emperor election, and to put it shortly, that was quite nasty because another well-known individual known as Kuro Gorilla was quite against me and might have done a bit of threatening people in DMs to vote against me. Which was
okay. So some political intrigue there. I see.
The vote went to like a total tie, and Operation Yup himself broke it by voting for me. It was like it was really stressful. I almost gave up.
So I have wasn't Kuro one of the dupers?
He was indeed. He was also. Caught has been banned for and admitted to using hitbox extenders. Quite a nasty lad.
Wow. So duper and exploiter versus a man who would later become the head of moderation.
Quite funny, yes.
Kind of ironic. You're a hero to the community. You're a hero to the Lionhearts Crusade community. You prevented a duper and exploiter from becoming the Holy Roman Emperor.
Oh, okay. Let's not frame me as a hero. He was actually voting for another candidate, and Kuro did end up becoming my second in command. So I'm not actually a hero in any regard.
He ended up becoming your second in command. Interesting.
Like a few weeks later, because he was a really good commander, and of course he gave me a lot of duped cast ingots, so I can fund my war effort against the Templars.
I'm assuming you didn't know they were duped, of course.
Of course I did. He didn't give me barely anything. He was quite secretive with his funds and gave it to me like his own duchy. I got like one halberd off of him after like a lot of tying.
So you were duped.
Yeah, he duped me. I'm a fake.
Wow.
What's all this time?
I can't believe it.
It had to come out eventually. I decided I'd expose myself on stream.
So, what was your emperorship like? What did you experience during your emperorship? What did you deal with? Did you deal with any rebellions, any major wars?
Well, I had like two people threaten to basically coup me at the start. One was Kuro, who said that he'd coup me if I was a bad emperor, which he would later say I was not. He didn't try to rebel. The other was somebody who was an Operation Yup loyalist, who just immediately left the faction and went inactive due to personal reasons. And the whole reign was quite stressful, because first I had to end the 3-month-long war against SPA, led by potential special guest Purging Saturn.
Oh, so you were enemies with Saturn?
Yeah, I mean, we were more enemies with the Hero Doctor. Saturn I actually got along with pretty well, like right at the start when we started negotiating, and that's kind of what led to us signing a treaty to form the infamous Federation.
Wow. So you and Saturn are responsible for the formation of the Federation.
Yes, I would once again like to say that I was responsible for the Federation, not only Saturn. Please stop crediting only Saturn for it. My fragile ego has been broken in half. Without me, there would never have been the Federation. And well, now I regret it, of course. However,
I have been a big opponent of the Federation, and it's ironic because I'm good friends with both you and Saturn. What do you guys think about, or what do you think about until Saturn gets here, the current state of the Federation? Do you think it ended up in a good place, or are you disappointed with it?
I have
or mixed opinion, perhaps.
I don't know. In recent times, I've started to regret the formation of the Federation, as I think it has negatively impacted the genre, and the fact that every war has basically ended up being like a massive coalition versus coalition, which I just don't find all that fun.
That's
I was very. Yeah, the Federation, when we first founded it, I was really enamored with it. I liked the ideal, and it was really beneficial for the HRE. But well, a lot of stuff has gone down, and now I'm an enemy of it, more or less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd imagine it's interesting to hear that for current Federation members. I too kind of view it in a certain light. I don't think it's... I think it does more bad than it does good for the factions within it. Just because it's this coalition that historically has stomped out the little guy. That's from my point of view. And maybe that's not totally accurate, but that's what I've seen from it. How do you feel about the Federation's treatment of smaller factions that would aim to war them or dismantle them, or has goals that don't align with the Federation? I remember there was a certain rebellion from the former leaders of the Cypriots within HRE, the Johnsons. And if I recall, they were stomped out by the Federation immediately, given no chance to make their case, given no chance to lay out their grievances and be listened to. They were just immediately stomped out. They didn't have a chance.
I definitely did not like the Johnsons, but I think the Feds have been... Well, I think they, I would say, abuse their power in the sense that they're just a massive alliance bloc. Not really. I wouldn't really call it a defensive alliance. It's kind of like an offensive alliance bloc, and they definitely use their power to curb stomp people. But I won't deny that I also participated in it by. When we first formed it, we basically just demolished the KOJ. Led by current Holy Roman Emperor Shadow Skull 5278.
Interesting. So, one of your former opponents ended up becoming leader of the HRE.
I'm really proud of Ari, because he's one of the few one-band people who has had a total redemption arc.
I remember he was banned. He was banned for being complicit in the duping, and then he appealed, and was luckily unbanned. And it seems he's went on a total reform arc. He's in a much better place. It's good to see that he's grown. Very, very happy to see that as well.
Yeah, you don't see it often with goobers that end up getting unbanned. There are only a few examples of people who really changed themselves. Kind of.
Also, this links into your position as the head of moderation. Do you think there are any major examples of players that have been unbanned and totally reformed themselves? Besides Ellie?
one of the people whose appeal got a lot of backlash originally, but ended up being a really good unbanned person was Roblox.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Now part of the studio, as a builder, right? Yeah. He had a really good appeal. I didn't really know who he was, but there were some other older judiciary members who were like, "Hell no, this guy ain't a."
No, you know what? I remember he was banned for duping gold or something.
Yeah, he was duping gold, and I think he harassed like judiciary and did like some nasty stuff in like Assassin server too.
It's ironic because Roblox actually. So I was formerly mentor of the Assassins. I was leader of the Assassins. Roblox was formerly like my apprentice. Like he was one of my high ranks that I kind of took under my wing and tried to teach some stuff to. And honestly, at one point, I almost thought that I was going to make him mentor. I almost thought I was going to make him my successor. It didn't end up playing out like that. He did get banned, and he had a lot of problems with authority, I think. But it seems like lately he's completely reformed, and he's a more reasonable person. I'm I see that kind of stuff.
I can't think of like too many examples alike like Ali and Roblox, but I mean a few of the like K-pops who got banned for affiliation have come back and done like nothing really, nothing bad.
You know, a big example I can think of a player who was banned or nearly banned and actually ended up having a great impact on the community was Fortune. Fortune was an exploiter originally, and he was banned, I think once or twice.
3 times, actually.
3 times, okay. And I ended up like helping him appeal, and I went to Saturn or whoever the head of moderation was at the time, and I asked them if they would unban him because I saw value in him as a potential developer. And he ended up becoming one of our key developers for quite a while until he retired. You know, it's very interesting to see that some players actually do have a total turnaround, a total 180. Do you think that there's any currently banned players who have potential that might be able to come back at some point?
Yeah, there's a name I really want to say, but I don't know if I should, because I'm totally biased towards this person.
I mean, go ahead.
My second in command, Kuro, I really like them, but he was a massive exploiter, so I'd love to have him back, but I don't know, dude. He has like so many offenses, but I loved the dude, even though he tried to coup me.
Do you feel like you ever have instances in your job as head of moderation where bias influences a decision, or do you feel like you do a pretty good job at distancing yourself from your personal relationships with people?
I generally try to view things objectively and be as neutral as possible, but of course I will admit I can be biased at times.
Yeah,
it's hard to be like totally unbiased.
Everyone's human. Totally understand.
Yeah, I'd want to be totally unbiased, but I think it's just kind of impossible. Myth, I don't think we're gonna re-invoke the dev and mod harassment tool. I think that just constitutes under the regular harassment rule.
Credenzio is asking, ask him when he's going to re-invoke the dev and mod harassment rule.
I don't even know what the original rule is, but I mean we got the harassment rule. I don't think we need
you're saying a rule already exists that would cover this?
I mean, technically yes. It would fall under like A1, either harassment, DMs.
Okay.
Maybe community harm.
Do you think there should be additional punishment, or do you think that that works?
Well, it kind of like depends on like the nature of the harassment, I suppose. Because if you just like, I mean, if somebody's like sending death threats to like studio members,
Yeah.
I mean that's like an obvious permaban. But like, yeah, I mean it just kind of depends on the nature. If it's extreme, we will just make an exception, outright ban, because the rule is, it's not like ironclad. We don't have to fully abide by the rule. I think it's even stated in the like rules channel of, maybe it's just in the judiciary server, that like in special cases we can make exceptions, we can make harsher punishments, we have room for judgment.
Okay. So, I see what you're saying, and it seems reasonable to me. So, I do have one more question. Do you think it's possible that Kuro could have a fortune arc? Is Kuro a competent developer?
From what I remember of Kuro, he was he wasn't all that like computer savvy. I think you can't find like anybody like Fortune again. He was a very unique type of person.
Yeah.
I mean, like he invented like his own dupe technique, like independently, and then like went crazy with whatever he did. The dude was like a kind of like a prodigy.
Yeah. Fortune was he was a very interesting person. He was reasonable and very technically skilled. I'm very happy we were able to pick him up and convince him that it would be better to help develop the game to fix its problems than to exploit it and attack its integrity because of the problems that upset him within it. I think that could be said for a lot of exploiters. There's definitely problems with the game, but if you have the ability to fix those problems, it might be a path worth pursuing if you're a skilled individual, So, it seems like Saturn isn't going to be available, but I would like to hear about your relationship with Saturn. What has that been like?
Well, I met him.
Predecessor and formerly your enemy.
Well, yeah, kind of enemy, but I've been friends with him for like a while now. Just as soon as like I started diplomacy with him, we were like totally on the same page. We shared like a vision, and like just generally, well, it was always cool hanging with him.
Yeah.
Even though we were mostly doing just like leader stuff, not that like like I guess not that close friends, but over time he he said I should join judiciary, which I was already considering. Got operator. Then he I think either he or you bought Zomboid for me.
Yeah, I bought you Project Zomboid. I remember that game, and we played together. Yeah,
that was awesome. I'm actually so glad that I got fucking Zomboid.
Yeah, that was a great experience. It was great to play with you guys, and I think also that experience helped strengthen your guys' relationship, possibly leading in part to you becoming head of moderation later on. I'm happy to see that things could happen like that.
Yeah. I'm definitely. I think in like how I handle things has been definitely influenced a lot by Saturn, but of course I also have to give credit to Sleeping.
Okay.
Who Sleeping made me admin and decided I should be head mod.
I wonder if Sleeping would be available for an interview. I wonder where he is currently. Let's find out.
might be at work. I don't know. Just sleeping's like
he's not online.
unpredictable. He does sometimes set himself offline though, so
Really?
who knows?
Well, let me shoot him a DM and try anyway, just because I would like to have a guest star.
I think sleeping's really like. I mean, a lot of people like them as admin and head mod, but I think he's still like underrated because a lot of people actually don't know like how much how much he has worked for like judiciary.
Sleeping's kind of like a sleeper hit. Like he was the leader of assassins too at one point. He was head mod, right?
Yeah, for like 3-4 months.
He's kind of a sleeper hit. He's done a lot of work that's gone unnoticed due to his. I mean, he kind of doesn't like the spotlight. It seems like he took a more back seat in terms of his position, but it seems like he was doing a lot of work behind the scenes.
Yeah,
and he responded to me. Maybe he'll be available.
Oh,
okay. He said no, thank you.
Unlucky. We have a joke of calling him Batman because he's like one of the best interrogators we have. Like if we suspect somebody's like alting or something, and Sleeping gets in their DMs, he'll find out the truth like really well. He's like a master.
Interesting. So, Credenzio asks, Cog, why does Dark Souls 2 suck, and why did you ruin my streaming career? Everyone immediately leaves when I stream Dark Souls 2. I don't.
Is that the case? The only time I've seen him streaming Dark Souls 2 is like at the end of like a 9-hour stream, which I think people are, already tired of like watching you for 9 hours straight. I was influenced by Myth's playthrough to start my own Dark Souls 2 playthrough again, and dude, I'm having a blast with it. So I know. Am I just the one person in all of history who likes Dark Souls 2? Am I the appreciator?
You might be
in this world of haters.
You might be. You really might be. He also asks, "Why are you the Joker?"
When did I become the Joker?
That's his words, not mine. I don't know. Why are you the Joker? Can you answer this question?
I be goofy like that, you know. Sometimes I be having a little laugh.
Okay, that's a interesting viewpoint. I enjoy hearing that. So, you know, it would be nice to get a guest star on. You know, I'm gonna try seeing if Katie Lee is available. How do you feel about that?
Whoa.
She's the
sure.
head moderator ancestor. She is the progenitor of all of the head of moderation.
I've barely ever spoken with Katie. I don't know if I've even had more than like 2 interactions with her. I'm too new gen, unfortunately.
Alright, I sent her a DM. I hope we can get someone. It'd be nice to have an additional perspective and somebody else to bounce off of for this interview. So, what does your day-to-day look like? How do you do your job? And what would you say? I'll just let you answer that first, actually, and then I'll bounce off and ask you another question to follow up.
It's. I don't really have like a routine or something. I just do judiciary in kind of like my free time because I am a university student, so sometimes I just have to like concentrate on that first. But well, whenever I get like a DM or something, I try to answer it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And so same for pings in judiciary. I don't want to be like an inactive head mod, and this is not throwing shade at anyone who's come before me, but I just really don't. If I like take on a position, I just want to like prove myself capable of it, and don't want to be slacking off. Because if I go inactive, I might as well just retire. Is my belief.
I see, and I would agree. That's a great perspective to have. Do you feel that you're a generally responsive person?
I would say so. Yes.
Pretty good. It's good to hear. So, as a follow-up to that earlier question, what would you say to players who think that judiciary is corrupt or doesn't operate like they wish it would?
I've kind of given up, or well, never really had the goal of like changing people's minds, because I've always thought of that people will always have their inherent like biases and thoughts about judiciary, which will stay true no matter what we do. So I just mostly concentrate on like trying to do my job as best as I can, and if that changes people's minds, then well, that would be good. But
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
I do want to like I think I want to stress that we should, as judiciary, do more of like we should promote like an idea of, if rule breakers or suspected rule breakers cooperate with judiciary, they can like get out of punishment or get like softer punishments, because oftentimes if you're like caught in an act, you immediately start denying it, and you do so much more work for us. And I think like I want to tell people that if you just like be honest with us, don't lie, you can like get an easier punishment. We don't have to like bring the full hammer down on you.
Yeah.
I think it's also been like the problem for like a lot of people who've been banned in the past. They just weren't properly honest.
They wouldn't communicate and cooperate. They would
that's it.
They would just try to evade punishment by lying.
Like for rule breakers who cooperate with us, we will try not to be so harsh on you. Is what I believe.
So, here's a hard question for you. What do you think... I have two questions, actually. What do you think was judiciary's finest moment? In the history of judiciary, as far as you know, what would be the moment where judiciary really pulled through for the community?
I mean... I would want to say the K-pop situation, but I also hold the idea of... I mean, I know that a lot of judiciary did like a lot of hard work on it, but that still ended up with what I believe was a bunch of, well, let's say, unfair bans. But I mean, I won't deny that people like Katie did from what I've seen, like reading logs back, do like a lot of investigation. I mean, Myth. I mean, but you're not judiciary, so.
I don't know. I am in your Discord. I am in the judiciary Discord.
This is true.
And I have a role in there. What
was it like? Noob mod?
What is that role?
I mean,
noob admin. Who gave me that role, and why do I have it?
I mean, you're kind of a noob.
Thank you. So, a follow-up, and this is going to be an even harder question. What do you think was judiciary's greatest failure?
Oh, hey, that links into like the whole K-pop situation too. Hey, I mean, yeah, I still think. I mean, I don't think the judiciary has had like massive like failures or massive like successes in a singular moment. I think we've just been doing like a consistent piece of work. But I think, judging from like all the K-pop unbans, I think a lot of people did get unfairly targeted and suspected of being involved in duping when they weren't. Even when like the original bans came through when I was an operator, there were people I was like trying to get evidence, like asking Anon, the former admin, for like evidence of why they got banned, and he would not provide it. And he said he'd make a document, which he never did.
Wow.
I don't want to slander his name, but that whole situation really irritated me. And
so you think that the K-pop duping bans were the finest hour and the greatest failure, both?
Yes, I think striking down dupers really good, but all the like innocents caught in the crossfire, all the greatest failure. I think I think that's poetic.
That's interesting. That's a really, I did not expect that response. That is very, wow. So, let's see. I got a DM here from Omar. Maybe Omar would like to join.
Omar would be cool.
Let's see what he says. Omar would be good interviewee. I think he would be great. So
definitely.
Who was your successor as Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire?
That was Lost Arch, the person I helped form the Reformation, a rebellion against, like a month into his reign.
Yeah.
I don't want to really diss on Arch, because I actually really I am grateful for like all he has done for the HRD, because he's one of the like people who really has helped set up like foundations for the roleplay aspects, and he's done a lot of like archive writing. Like he's done Holy Roman history.
Wow.
And I really enjoy that aspect as the faction, which is something nowadays I even work on. I got like access to Trello boards, but
yeah.
I really did not like his emperorship, because I believe like some crucial people who like had contributed to the empire during my reign got shifted out of power in favor of free ranks, and he was kind of inactive, and Operation Uphold had a lot of say in things.
So you participated in a rebellion against your own successor?
Yes, I think it was fun. It was something the faction had not really seen before, but at the end of the day, it kind of failed and ended up damaging the faction.
Wow.
Because the person who would become leader after Arch was Messy.
So,
Messy.
What do you think about Messy's emperorship?
Messi, if you're watching this, please close the stream immediately. I think Messi was a bad emperor, and I think Uber, who came after him, was even worse. I'm really critical of like I call them the month emperors, because we had like 3 emperors who reigned only for like a month, and that was Messi, Uber, and Bean.
Okay. I don't. Who's Bean?
Joe Mama O, also known as Beanie, also known as fucking Bean K-pop. I don't even know it. Java. He goes by so many names. I don't even know if like. Hades is another.
He was one of the K-pop dupers, wasn't he?
He was.
So So HRE has a
Oh.
long history of being involved with K-pop.
Honestly, true actually, because we had like a lot of people in like spring 2022 in HRD, like in the high ranks, actually ended up joining K-pop, and Operation Yup, he took a really like hardline stance on it, and he started like well, I wouldn't say oppressing them, but like he was really suspicious of them, which was fair.
Yeah.
But the people in HRD who joined K-pop, all at the end of the day actually ended up being more loyal to HRD than K-pop, because K-pop really wanted those people out of HRD, but they refused.
What do you think about what are your views on K-pop now? Then and now.
Dude, back then I didn't know all that much about K-pop, but I fucking hated them.
Okay.
I knew about fucking racism going on in the server. I knew like duping accusations. They were like stealing members off of HRE, trying to joining different factions, getting free ranked, fighting against us. And well, nowadays I'm still of the same opinion that I hated K-pop.
Yeah.
But there are definitely K-pop members, ex-K-pop members who I've gotten along really well with. So it's kind of ironic that I'm technically very affiliated with K-pop, seeing as I'm friends with a lot of former members. But I still hate K-pop.
Do you think there is still people? Does K-pop still exist? Do you know or no?
No, maybe like undercover, like not as like a bloodline entity. No, I don't believe so.
Do you think that there were former K-pop members that remain people that you wouldn't want to associate with?
You mean like unbanned K-pops who stay in contact with like dupers and such?
Sure.
I
can see how there's some K-pop members that have reformed themselves and how you would be okay with them now. But do you feel there's K-pop members out there, perhaps still banned or unbanned, who you would not want to associate yourself with? And you don't have to name names if you don't want to.
As anybody, nobody should be associating with Froggers. I hate Froggers. Never getting unbanned. Permanent void. I mean, people can be friends with who they like, I'd say. I mean, somebody like Chapika, who is unbanned, has like somehow has connections to like every person in like the history of Lionhearts. Somehow, I don't know how he does it. I don't think there's like, I don't think K-pop poses like any harm to the game anymore, or like the people who were in it. But like the certain like confirmed dupers like at the head of the like hierarchy, they ain't coming back.
So what are your thoughts on Chapika? Because Chapika actually, I don't know if you know this, Chapika assisted Saturn and myself with like cleaning up some of the additional muck that K-pop left, or some of the K-pop member, I can't remember. He helped with something, and we promised him clemency, but he didn't end up getting that clemency. He was banned, or he remained banned, or something. I can't remember. I think he had alts, something to do with alts and K-pop. He might have uncovered a whole scheme of K-pop members on alts remaining in the community post-ban.
Chapika is definitely known for his alts and alting, but I think he was done dirty with like a promise of unban, because I am totally sure that he was in no way affiliated with actual duping. And I think Chapika does kind of work in the shadows. He's kind of fed us information and such. I think, like, unironically, one of the most helpful K-pops for judiciary. But yeah, he was quite controversial, and his I think his unban was long overdue when we did it. Even though he's still a bit of a slimy lad.
He was. I have mixed feelings about him as well. He was almost an informant for us, but in the end, we kind of turned on him. And I'm maybe not so proud of that. Although I agree, there was some. He was a bit immoral. I think he would have continued on a path of, maybe even still is continuing on a path of rule breaking. What do you think about that?
I don't think he's
Or associated
exactly
with rule breakers, rather.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's definitely he's definitely a bit suspicious, and I think the whole like getting himself unbanned, he was making he was making it so much worse for himself by just like not being a really good like he wasn't good like apologizing. He kept making odds, but nowadays whenever I like go to him and I have like I suspect that he's doing something, he like immediately tells me everything he knows. He collaborates with us on like basically everything.
So you think he's reformed himself to some degree?
I think he's yeah. I still think he might get up to suspicious acts, but I think he knows better not to like get him off with like stupid shit, and like he will collaborate with us if needed.
He kind of lived through a movie almost. He was an informant for the judiciary, police, FBI ring as a former criminal, and in the end we ended up betraying him. It's kind of similar to something like that. What is there's like a movie or something that's kind of like that, or a game. I don't remember. Whatever.
Not totally sure.
Anyways, I really wish we could get another person on, but we're having a hard time. It seems like everybody is denied. Omar is unable to make it. Saturn is unable to make it. Katie, no response. Sleeping is unable to make it. Oh, Sleeping gave me another response. Let's see what he has to say. He said he can join.
Oh, hey, nice.
Sleeping, guest star. Sleeping Wolf. Let's get him in here.
Messenger DMs me saying you are dodging questions. What did I dodge? I answered it. I answered everything.
Sleeping Wolf, welcome. Welcome. Let me turn you up a bit. Whoa, what the? I'm getting battled in that admin agent download. Okay. Turned you up.
Hello?
Sleeping, how's it going?
I'm good, how are you?
Pretty good. So, Sleeping, do you, how do you feel about being sort of the Batman of judiciary? What do you feel about that?
The Batman of judiciary. I don't know. I feel like Batman, I guess, maybe is a more appropriate description than someone would immediately think, because I try to be so buddy with everyone, and get along with everybody. You know, I talk to everybody, even people that I have bad history with, and I try to be everyone's friend. But at the same time, sometimes you can't be people's friends, and in order to get shit done, in order to get results, you have to be willing to be a dick sometimes. And I find that I'm sort of like the only one in judiciary at the moment who's willing to do that. Maybe not willing, but no one else is ever volunteering to like go make enemies. When someone needs to be pushed into a corner or threatened, no one's like, "Oh, I'll go do it. I'll go make people mad at me."
Mm-hmm. So, do you feel that? Let me ask you both a question. Do you guys feel that judiciary, as is, does a better job than some of its predecessor iterations of judiciary? Where do you think you could do worse?
I think judiciary, I think it just had its peak. And I still think it's very strong, but I think we just recently lost a lot of people.
Okay.
Like Bob retired. A lot of our new operators either didn't pass their trial or weren't qualified. So we had to get rid of them, but we were in a really good position. I feel like our admins and moderators, specifically like me, Cog, Omar, Martina, are far more active than the admins and mods were when I joined Judiciary. When I joined Judiciary, it was largely operators tackling everything, and then the higher-ups would just kind of come in to tell them when they did something wrong. Whereas I feel like we've kind of been doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and in some ways that's good because it keeps us active, and we don't want inactive higher ups that aren't doing anything and aren't like staying up to date on what's going on in the community. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of operators aren't getting as much experience as they would have in the past. There are operators that have been with us for months, even almost a year, and still kind of don't really know what they're doing. They still kind of fumble here and there, which in the past wouldn't have happened.
Let me ask you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Now, I'm relatively new to Judiciary, I'd still say, compared to like old geezers such as like Sleeping. But so I don't want to really comment on like old times, as I think I might like misrepresent what was true. But I do feel as though we're in a much healthier state nowadays with really active admins and some mods that are absolutely amazing.
So, let me hear your opinions on Saturn. Do you guys think Saturn generally was a good head of moderation? Or do you think he could have done better?
Well, he was obviously not that active, but I think he carried himself well, and he's a really, like, I'd say professional type of guy, a fun guy.
Yeah.
Not to people who he bans, of course, but I mean, to each their own.
Yeah.
I think he like if he was just more active, he'd be like the greatest head mod.
my view, I think he's quite harsh, but that harshness almost served him well because it came at a time when the community needed that harshness. Now, I think as an effect of that and as effect of both of your competent administration, we're now seeing a sort of golden era of the community.
You go ahead.
Sorry, I feel like the best thing about Saturn was that he really did not give a damn about what anyone thought about him.
Yeah.
Right. So when it came time to hand out like some really strict punishments or enforce some rules that people really didn't like being enforced, he was very much willing to just take all the flack and take all the hate, and it just didn't really bother him at all. Partially because he wasn't incredibly active, but that really was useful sometimes.
Yeah. Do you guys think that being the head of moderation or in administration in general, or moderation in general, do you think it's a dangerous job? Have you guys ever experienced any form of danger while being the head of moderation? Like, has anybody ever attempted to harass you or attack you with your private information or DDoS you or anything like that?
Well, luckily not for me. It's like nothing like big. I mean, there's some people like yapping in your DMs comes with the territory. You get used to it really early, but like nothing like actually like somebody trying to dox me or nothing. No, I don't think that's all that common. I hope Sleeping hasn't had such an incident.
Yeah, like you can't be in Judiciary without making enemies. Mm-hmm. Everyone that you punish is going to say that you're biased. Everyone that you don't punish, people are going to say that you're biased. People are going to be mad at you. They're going to be in your DMs. Yeah. But I haven't really felt threatened, by anyone. I don't think anyone's attempted to threaten me, and I think if they did, it would be kind of hard to take it serious, given that most of the people here are like still in high school, or
Yeah. So I think it's an interesting spot to be in because most communities, the head of moderation can be a dangerous position to hold. I think being head of moderation can come with a lot of flack, a lot of the threat of doxing, DDoSing, swatting. That's a very real thing in other communities, but I'm not sure if we're at that point yet. We might even be too closed for that to ever happen to us.
Careful, don't give people ideas.
Yeah, I'm not trying to.
Yeah, people have, like, there have been instances of, like doxing or IP grabbing within the community. It's just generally not something we've dealt with. It's usually something that's happening to other people.
Yeah.
I think the community is just not old smart enough to be as malicious to like swat someone.
I think generally we're actually pretty safe. We have some. We have a major lack of malicious people, which I'm happy to see. Anyways, I also want to ask you guys, specifically I want to ask Sleeping Wolf, so you were the mentor of ACA. You were the leader of ACA for a very, very brief period, is that correct?
Very briefly, yeah.
How was that?
I was very much looking forward to leading ACA.
Yeah.
But then the game changed and my life changed. I was in college at the time, and I had just started taking some very, more. I was in like my senior year of college. I had just started taking like much more difficult, much more time-consuming classes, and that was also at the same time that Magnetarum came out.
Yeah.
And when Magnetarum first dropped, it was pretty rough. I think that's fair to say. And we lost there was a massive spike in activity. Like, I don't know what kind of ads you guys put out, but we rallied like 100 people day one.
Wow.
And then none of them stayed.
Wow.
Like, so I don't know. I don't know how you got so many people in the game, but we just couldn't get people to stay in the faction, and I couldn't be present in battles. And there was the issue of only, like, pre-Magnetarum, any HR could start a siege. Like, any HR could go to a tower on the road and start a siege, but after Magnetarum, the leader had to be online to siege. And I had, college 6 hours a day and then work another 8 hours, so I obviously wasn't there. So, yeah, I had to leave.
So, Credenzio says, Sleeping Wolf leading ACA was like General Iroh sieging Ba Sing Se. Do you agree with this?
I don't think so, because I don't understand the comparison there.
Did you lose your son?
Is he saying I was evil and my son died, and then I had a change of heart and became a... like, I don't know.
It was his greatest military failure, says
Wow.
Greatest military disgrace.
Wow.
Damn.
So,
Brutal.
a sort of compliment with a little bit of a backlash there. It seems like he's comparing you to General Iroh, but then saying you're also...
I mean, Iroh was a goat.
Failure.
So...
He says, and then he returned to the faction to own a tea shop.
To own a tea shop? Yeah, I mean, yeah. I never, like, left.
Yeah.
I mean, like, when I stepped down, I was still Master of Scholars under Katie. She even offered me a dignitary position, but I just knew I wasn't going to be active.
Yeah.
And once I was able to pass on Master of Scholars to Marv, then I just kind of took a step back out of the picture. But I was still, I guess, acting in a sort of advisory role to Nub and Mickey and the mentors that came after. I've always been in the Discord. I was in Judiciary still.
So I gotta ask you, what are you gonna be doing when Sozin's comment returns? Will you aid the Avatar?
So, but that metaphorically, the returning of Sozin's comet, it's probably going to be quite some time from now. I'm waiting for the day when Omar steps down or gets cooed, by some new gen who doesn't know anything about the faction and doesn't know anything about its history. I know that eventually it's over for ACA. We can't hold on to it forever. And eventually it's going to be in a pretty sorry state, and it's going to be in the hands of someone who maybe doesn't really know what they're doing, and maybe I'll come back and liberate it.
That'd be an interesting arc.
That'd be the Sozin's comment.
Can I ask you guys, were you leaders at about the same time? Was it simultaneous?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think Cog was in the game at the time.
I joined January 2022 and became leader in June. That's
Okay.
like 6 months after Magna, something.
Oh, so you're a little bit later. I see. Were either of you players during the era of the old game?
Yeah.
No. I'm a new gen.
So this will be more directed towards Sleeping then. Sleeping, what do you think about the game's transition from the Third Crusade to the Third Crusade Reforged to Lionhearts Crusade? Do you think... Just what are your general thoughts? I don't even know what to ask you.
Why don't you tell me your thoughts, Andrew? and I'll kind of go on.
I'm being interviewed.
I don't want to.
Okay. Well, I think
I don't want to stir the water. I don't want to rock the boat. You set the tone.
Okay, so personally, I've been a player and later developer of the Third Crusade Reforged, the Third Crusade, and Lionhearts Crusade. I was there when the Third Crusade was founded and created. I was one of the proponents of it in the beginning. Far long ago. That was, at this point, almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And personally, I think the progression of Lionhearts has been insane. I think that, and this is, don't get me wrong, I'm nostalgic about the Third Crusade. I enjoyed it for what it was. I loved playing it. I love the people in it. I love the community. But at the end of the day, it was just some linked swords and a base plate. It wasn't as complicated, or it wasn't as evolved, rather, as Lionhearts is. I think the transition period, which was the Third Crusade Reforged, it left a lot to be desired. I think the Third Crusade Reforged, in some ways, was more of a disappointment, and I can understand why people, looking back on that at the time, preferred old TTC. But in my opinion, where the game currently is, Lionhearts Crusade, I think it's amazing. I think we've evolved from ape to upright man. I think that there's been a progression there. Before we were monkeys on a base plate, it was point, click, not even point, just, I guess point and click for crossbows and knives and stuff, but point and click and just double click to slash, not much to it. And I think, sure, it was simple. There's definitely something to be nostalgic about, but the world now, the game now, the combat now, it's miles above what it used to be. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I definitely think that the project has been, it's incredibly ambitious. Mm-hmm. It's taken an incredible effort from a great many people and an incredible understanding of Roblox, of the code and the way that the platform works. It's incredibly ambitious. I don't know if I said that already.
Yeah.
There really isn't anything else like it on Roblox.
Yeah.
But I do. I feel like it has, still quite a way to go. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Which is more than fair. I would agree.
I started playing Roblox in 2007.
Wow.
So linked swords were my childhood. The old
Yeah.
the safety chat, like visit my place. Want to be friends? Like that was my fucking childhood growing up, you know. And I definitely think there. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's worse. Like Swordfight on the Heights still has, you know, full lobbies of people playing it today.
Right? Yeah, I don't think that stuff was bad by any means either. I think it was fun for what it was at the time, and I think it was enjoyable and now nostalgic. And I think a lot of it was more so built on the player interaction, because, you know, if I go there now, if I go to Sword Fights on the Heights, I'll play it for 5 minutes and leave. It's not that captivating to me. Whereas Lionhearts, I could probably play it for a good hour or so before I'm like, okay, I'm out. And that's not to say that Lionhearts is bad. I think that's actually really good to keep a player in the game for like an hour, and I would come back the next day even. I think there's a lot more substance, a lot more going on, a lot more to actually strive towards in Lionhearts. And I also got to say, for people that did not like the Third Crusade Reforged, I agree with you. I think the Third Crusade Reforged was a disaster, but I think Lionhearts now is just something that can't be beat comparably to both.
Yeah. I think that the original idea for the Third Crusade was like genuinely a stroke of brilliance. The idea of bringing multiple groups together, like communities of people together to one place, one experience, where they could play together and hash out their beef together instead of raiding each other's places. Right, that was amazing, and it was. I feel like it was those communities and those people that had, you know, you had these tight-knit groups of people that had history, that had identities, all together in one place that made the game so unforgettable.
Yeah.
And that's kind of Lionheart's greatest strength, but I feel like it's also its greatest weakness, because when people start leaving, and those communities aren't there anymore, and there aren't people hosting events, and you start losing, you know, the scale, the sense of size, and all the people. It's hard to get people into the game. Like when I joined Lionhearts, I would wake up and there would be trainings being hosted, there would be people fighting in arena, people would be sieging Alamut, or we would be sieging Constantinople, and I would literally play until I had to go to school. And the whole time I was at school, my phone would be pinging nonstop, events being hosted, people doing stuff, and I couldn't wait to get home from school to go back to like the third Alamut siege of the day to defend it once again, you know. And that just doesn't happen anymore. And so it's hard to retain people when there are no people, you know, because people join and they don't see anything happening, and they think, you know, there's nothing interesting going on, and they leave.
So this is an open question to both of you. What do you think Lionhearts could do better?
Think just stuff for players to do that doesn't revolve around like stuff that players can do by themselves, or in small groups. Like matchmaking was a really good idea. I thought dungeons were a really good idea, but they kind of got dropped on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. If a player joins today and they're like, oh, I just paid however much, 140 Robux for this game. I just joined the Templar Order, which is so cool, Deus Vult guys, and they get on and there's nothing happening. There's no battle going on. There's no training being hosted. There's nothing for them to do.
Yeah. I see what you're saying for sure. Cog, do you have anything?
Well, now I don't usually think of like from a dev perspective, so it's a bit hard for me to speak, but I generally do agree with sleeping that, like, I think there should be more somebody can do, and like, well, without having to depend on like somebody else in your faction, like hosting something. I will admit I personally did not like dungeons at all. I went to like a few of them. It just felt like some random parkour. I didn't enjoy it. But like matchmaking, I think I really liked it, but like it did get like monotonous eventually because oftentimes you just have to do like spotting against like bots that will like kick your ass, and just like and you can like you can predict their pathing really easily to just like sit in one position and basically like charge attack. But if players were like constantly like doing 15 with 15, for example, that would be really fun. Just I don't know, it's just more stuff to do that doesn't depend on maybe like other people.
Yeah,
like
go ahead, Sleeping. Sorry.
Well, I've suggested a couple times like overworld. I'll call it the overworld because that's what it's called in like other RPGs. The general map, right? That's not like bases or dungeons. If there was like PvE events or just like stuff happening in the overworld for stuff to do, like quests are a great idea and a great way to deal with this problem, but quests take a very long time to write. They all have to be very unique, and then once they're done, they can't be done again. Whereas, like, if you just had...
We could make daily repeatable quests. Or weekly.
Yeah, but I mean, like you go to the overworld and, like, randomly, a group of bandits will spawn attacking a garrison, and you can go fight them.
That'd be cool.
Or there's just like NPC patrols walking around that you can fight, or...
You know, I think that was at one point a thing on secondary servers. I'm pretty sure bandits would randomly take over garrisons, or that was planned or something.
Yeah,
but it never actually...
It was kind of like a thing. I think I don't remember if I like actually did it, because I do know that there's like, I think even still there are like in secondary servers sometimes pop-ups that like bandits randomly like camp a settlement, but then you look at the map and nothing actually happened because
it's like broken.
I'm not really sure if it ever worked, but it's been like a pop-up in secondary servers for like 2 years. But I think the idea is pretty good, but there needs to be like some sort of incentive for it.
Yeah.
It's like with like daily quests and such. I've done like a fair share of playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And the problem is that daily quests do get like, if it's just like the same thing over and over, it does get monotonous. And I'm not a dev, so it's really hard for me to answer the question of what can you add that's both like compelling, easy to add, but doesn't get like immediately monotonous. It's it is complex.
So, go ahead, Sleeping. Sorry.
I have a little suggestion from a game that I did play a little bit when I was taking a little break from Lionhearts. I won't name it, but so they had like an overworld type thing where there were like a bunch of different locations you could go to, and they were these big maps. It wasn't a PvP game; it was a PvE game, but it was a genre like Lionhearts that kind of had like different factions that did their own thing, and in the maps there were different locations. Each map had like 4 or 5 where you could go and trigger an event by pushing a button or talking to an NPC. And there would be like a MacGuffin that you had to go find, or waves of enemies that you had to defend against or something. So what players would do, and this wasn't something that required HRs or anyone with any special perms, they could just say in the Discord, hey, anyone want to go to this map and do a patrol, they called it, and a bunch of people would go, yeah, I want to, and they would party up and go to the map, and they'd be like, okay, we're going to go do defend the house, and then we're going to do find the box, and then we're going to do whatever, and they would just go around the map and do these little events. And that was just kind of how people passed the time in between like region battles and sieges.
Yeah.
I
That's
I
an
do think that
interesting concept, interesting idea for sure. We might want to look into that.
one thing I always enjoyed about the game was the open massive world of it, where you can just walk somewhere and you'll find some random Roman ruin or something in some corner of northern Levant. And when I played, I tried to do a hardcore playthrough with Bob. We did a lot of exploration throughout every Levant in Sicily, and I felt that it was all so nice looking, but the thing is, there's no incentive to actually go to these places. Really, I mean, there is cartography quests, but I mean, it would be cool if there were special things and special places in the map, and you could go all around, do some whatever. It's just something to make the world feel more lively, I guess.
Yeah. I'm definitely interested in exploring more solutions or additions in that regard to making the world feel more lively. I think that's something that we've been discussing in the studio for a long time, and some of our concepts have yet to be implemented. I think that they'll be coming soon. We've been talking a lot about making daily repeatable quests at garrisons, and adding more incentives for the players for garrison conquest and all of that. And I mean, going forward, I think I'll definitely be an advocate for that kind of stuff. I do have another question for you guys. So, Cog, I'm not sure if you plan on stepping down anytime soon, but right now, if you were to step down, who would your successor be?
Omar.
Omar, as head of moderation? Really?
I think so, yeah. He's active, he's been around for a long while, he's really competent. I mean, there are other, I mean, I think
Omar's a great choice.
I think Omar is the best choice, but he's not the only candidate, of course.
Yeah.
But I would pick him, and well, I might be forced to step down in a couple of months because I might have to do mandatory conscription.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'll find out if I have to go this summer or not.
Yeah.
This month. So.
That's
I'll
a major reason why we lost Fortune. He had to do something similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if that is the case, I only have until July, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, you will definitely be missed if that ends up being the case. I think you've been a great head of moderation. I think you both
Thank
were.
you.
I think you both did a great job. I want to ask you guys, do you think that sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. Actually, let me ask you something else. Currently, within the moderation team, who are you guys most proud of? What members of the team are doing their best, doing a good job, consistently, reliably showing up? Do you have anybody in mind?
I know she can get into a lot of fights with people and stuff, but I think Martina has been a really surprising member ever since she joined. She's been incredibly active. I think she knows her stuff, and the only problem is that she's made a lot of enemies.
Sounds almost like she could be a second Katie. Katie was a very competent head of moderation who tended to be very brash and some people definitely took issue with her, but she was definitely good at what she did, without a doubt. I'm not sure if either of you really knew her that well.
Yeah, I knew Katie. She was my second in command. And then
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. She was definitely. She was a hard ass, for lack of a better word. But it was to her credit. It was to her credit. It wasn't a bad thing. You know, in her position, it was good. So
I'll also give credit to our consistently very active operator, Adamo. Yes.
Adamo. Oh yeah.
good to hear.
Yo.
Good to hear.
I like how we're on the same page.
So, sleeping. Where did you get your name? Sleeping Wolf.
Okay, so when I was 12 years old, right? I lived out in the fucking woods.
Yeah.
Right, and me and my friend would go out into the woods every day. We liked walking the dogs, exploring, going down to the river, jumping over it, throwing shit in it, building houses out there. And I was a cringy little kid, and I was like, yo, we should start a club and invite a bunch of other kids from the neighborhoods out here, into the woods. And I thought a really cool name for the club would be the Sleeping Wolves, but it never really took off. But I did use that name for one of my Roblox accounts, and my friend, when he started playing Roblox, actually used the same name. If you look up Sleeping Wolf 01, that's my best friend of all life. He kind of bit my name a little bit.
Coggermon, how about you? How did you get your name?
Well, my name, this version of spelling Coggermon came from when I played World of Warcraft, and I had to make a troll shaman, and I had to choose a name for it. It was just like an amalgamation, not an amalgamation. It's just basically my last name.
Oh, okay. Don't tell anybody that. Thank you.
No, it's not spelled like that.
Okay.
I mean, you won't know what it actually is, but it's just based off of my last name.
That's pretty cool. So, I mean, we've been here for an hour and 30 minutes. If you guys have any final words, I'd love to hear them.
What about you, Andrew? Where did you get Hidden Bladed from?
Assassin's Creed. I made this account Hidden Bladed. I actually made it. It's a long story. So, in ACA, which is the assassin faction in our game, long ago, during the Third Crusade TTC era, like years and years ago, ACA in Alamut there's a courthouse, a courtroom. ACA used to do trials when its members broke the rules of its members in that courthouse. And one case we did was a case against a user called NetBlaze. NetBlaze was a master assassin in ACA, and he is also the founder of LAB Lab, if you've ever heard of it, Levantine Assassin's Brotherhood. He was a former master assassin of ACA who basically went rogue and made his own assassin group that was at odds with ACA for years. It was our arch nemesis. And he was on trial for basically hacking his friend, who was Baldwin IV, the King of Jerusalem, in the community at the time. He logged into his account and allegedly spent all of his Robux by buying. He gave himself. NetBlaze gave himself all of Baldwin IV's limiteds, and he gave himself all of his Robux. He bought a shirt. There were transactions to prove this, and I actually banded together with the Grandmaster of the Templars at the time to put NetBlaze on trial. I was the prosecutor. But I didn't want my identity to be known because I, too, was a master assassin and good friends with NetBlaze. I just disagreed with what he did. So I made this account Hidden Bladed to hide my identity, and I was the prosecutor at that trial. Sad thing is, he was deemed not guilty because we had a jury there, and it was very biased, made up of all of his friends, unfortunately, and the conclusion they reached was that NetBlaze was innocent, or not innocent, but not guilty. The problem is, from my perspective, he most definitely was not, because there was very clear proof that he had stolen Baldwin's Robux and Limited's, because he sent trades on the account to his own account, took the Limited's, took the Robux, and basically stole everything. Baldwin was his friend in real life or something to that effect, and they were never amicable again after that. Yeah, that's how I made the account, and then eventually I just switched over to it because I thought it was a cooler name. Hidden Bladed, based on Assassin's Creed, basically. Hidden Blade.
Very cool.
Anyways, that's the story. If you guys have any final words, I'd love to hear them. Or if you feel maybe I haven't asked enough questions, I could ask more. Just up to you guys at this point.
Hey, I'm up to answer more stuff. If you got anything,
you guys want to keep talking? I'm
more questions.
Okay. If you're feeling it, I'm not opposed. Well, I would say. How about you guys ask me some questions? I'm kind of out. I don't know if I even have any more. I wasn't expecting it to go this long. Anything. It could be anything. If you guys have nothing to ask, that's okay too. We can
I can come up with something.
Judiciary live database when?
Judiciary live database when? That's a discussion for another time. Post stream perhaps. You're free to DM me about that, and we can get that figured out. Do you have any questions pertinent to development of the game, my position as community manager, anything about my history with the game, anything you guys want? I'm down to answer if you want to continue, but otherwise...
How satisfied are you with the implementation of the House and Lord system?
I would say it has a lot of work to be done on it. It leaves a lot to be desired. And actually, we've got something in the works that would switch it up big time. A feudal system that Colton is working on. I think he's definitely mentioned it before on stream and given some details, but we definitely have something in the works to elaborate on the housing and, all that. Housing system and all that. Lordship, garrison lordship system. I'm definitely, in its current state, not satisfied with it, and there's much to be done. I can't give you specifics of what we were working on. I think Colton's talked about that previously on stream, but yeah, definitely something in the works there.
Okay, it's like the community outreach team. Are you still like a leader of it? I forget.
Yes.
Okay. I remember Fortune used to tell me about an idea where community outreachers should just receive access to I don't remember the specifics, but he wanted a special version of every base map where community outreachers could get perms to be able to spawn things in, or the type of admin perms specifically in one server, which could be used to make special events and all that sorts of community stuff. I wanted to ask if is this an idea somebody's suggested before, or
no,
what you would think of
I
it?
don't think he's never talked to us about that. That's the first time hearing of it. It's an interesting concept. So the idea is to make separate versions of all of the bases where community outreachers could spawn things in.
But kinda, yeah. Where they could,
special form of
yeah,
admin?
where they'd have like powers to like actually like try to host something special or unique. Because I personally feel as though I'm not a part of the community outreach team, of course, but
Yeah.
oftentimes whenever they host like events in game or something, it's really it just doesn't like go all that well because they don't really have much power. They don't really get to choose where it's taking place. They can't transport people. They have to rely on like.
You're saying that you think that they should have, if they want to host a tournament, access to admin or tools to spawn something in to be able to host that tournament easier.
Because I think somebody like Civ has been like he's somebody who uses like
he's done some good work with that.
He can use like dev powers pretty well to make like events funner and
that might be something I'll explore. I like the idea. I think we could use a way for community outreachers to facilitate events better in game. I like the idea. I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah, it's credit to. I'm pretty sure it was Fortune who told me about the idea.
Anything else, guys?
What else do you like? what are you having for lunch today, Andrew?
I have no idea. Maybe a black coffee. Maybe nothing.
Damn.
Maybe Chick-fil-A or something. I have no clue.
Chick-fil-A. What's your favorite thing from Chick-fil-A?
I like the fries. Fries are good.
They do have some pretty good damn fries. Can't believe you didn't say the chicken though.
Chicken's pretty good too, obviously. Well, if that's all, guys, do you have any final words? Anything left? Or again, if you can come up with any other questions, I'd love to hear them. If you're all out, it's all right. We can cut it.
I don't think I have anything else to the top of the dome.
Who do you see winning in the long run, the end game? Who do you see winning in this eternal Fed versus anti-Fed war?
I think the Feds will end up imploding at some point. I think it's too powerful for it to not eventually collapse.
Really?
Yeah.
I do think that's possible, but that requires like multiple leader changes because it's really. I hate to give them so much credit, but it's from what I've seen really stable.
Yeah, the Feds are like, I'm amazed at how unified and stable they are, because the anti-Feds there's some infighting. There's some coups, some rebellions, you know. We all hate the Feds, but that's about it, right? Yeah. That's not the only thing we can agree on. Whereas the Federation they operate almost as one faction, and they've mostly had like the same leaders forever, like Templars, Teutons, KOE, and KOJ. They recently Hero retired, Furious got coup. I think Baylor just retired, but like they were the leaders for ever.
You know, it's ironic. The Feds and the anti-Feds are basically the Crusader states and the anti-Crusader states.
It's just Crusader.
There's no functional difference. There's no functional difference.
Have you ever felt that like letting the Feds form and all these anti-Fed wars have gone like too far? Like the game has just been harmed by just megastates constantly?
The kids yearn for states.
I'm honestly, that's a really good question, and I can't say that I'm sure. I don't know. I think mega coalitions, mega alliances, I think they serve a purpose, but I don't know how long that purpose should really, how far it should really go. You know, like I don't know. Is that something that should be perpetual, or will the feds one day be too much? You know, I don't know. I think that they've been too much at many points, but I think it's up to the players ultimately to dismantle tyrants.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like returning to Crusaders and Anti-Crusaders, like as an enforced, like official part of the game, could be really healthy for the game right now.
Yeah.
Tying back to what I said about how it's hard to keep people in the game if there aren't already people in the game, and if there isn't already stuff going on. If people join like the Byzantines, there might not be there are a lot of people at Byzantines, but I'm just using them hypothetically. There might not be a lot of people in the faction at the moment, and they might not be hosting any events or whatever. But if they're part of the Anti-Crusaders, and there's like 4 or 5 other factions there that do have active people and are hosting events that they can go to, that might help keep people in the game.
Mm-hmm. So this might be, I mean, all this might be something for Myth to think about. I know he's watching the stream. Maybe he'll take away something from this conversation. I hope that he's inspired by this. So, if you guys have any final words or anything, I think we're gonna end it here. If you have anything to say, any words of advice, any final thoughts, anything, you're totally welcome to share. I'd love to hear it.
Well, I think from as the head mod, I'd like to say that I think our team is currently doing a good job, and we'll improve to. We'll strive to improve the genre how we can, and try to stay unbiased. And that I believe, sleeping, that we should. We're gonna do apps soon, right? I think we discussed it. Applications, operators.
Yeah, I said that we should get some applications because, like I said, we kind of just started coming down from what I think has been Judiciary's highest point in a long time, with a lot of people going inactive or getting removed.
Yeah.
So massive announcement. Operator applications coming back soon?
Question mark.
Question mark? Exclamation mark? Put that as a headline. Send it to your mother. Send it to everybody you know. Operator applications? Wow!
Awesome. Great to hear it. So, I have one final question for you both. As a noob admin, am I an honorary member of Judiciary?
You're definitely. I know we. I get heated a lot, and I say things right. You're always welcome in Judiciary, Andrew. You are.
Thank you. Thank you. I love to hear it. I appreciate it. Much respect to you both. This has been a great interview, great stream. I'm happy to hear from you guys, and I hope that all of our viewers have opened their minds to the duties of Judiciary and realize that you guys are human too. And that nothing's personal.
Thank you for having me.
It's nothing personal.
All right, guys. Well, if that's all, I think we'll end it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Respect to you both.
Goodbye.
Good talking to you. Thank you for the good interview. Very respectful, very mind-opening. I've learned a lot from you guys. I appreciate it.
All right, I'll see you. Have a good day.
Peace.
Okay, all of K-pop duperts being unbanned tomorrow. Goodbye.
Okay.
That's cool.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe below. If not, leave a dislike and tell us why this content could be improved in the comments below. We'll see you guys in the next one.